Bob and crew. Appreciate y'all being here. Good morning. Always good to see y'all in the business community. Obviously, the importance that you play in our state, the future of our state. I want to talk to you about a couple of things that we've been doing. Obviously, very important to give you a recap of our office. As y'all recall, when I ran back in 19, we talked about a few things. Clearly, making sure that the integrity of our process was upheld when it comes to elections. We talked about cutting regulations. Those are the things that we've really been focused on in our office, and I think it's important, number one, that you guys hold us accountable. I've told you that from time to time, and I think when people hold their elected officials accountable, you just get better government. And so I encourage you to continue to do that. With elections, one of the things that we've done is really focused on the process. And many times you've probably heard the slogan of making it harder to cheat and easier to vote. And so we've really focused on making sure that, look, United States citizens are the only folks that should be voting in our elections. We've got legislation passed to do that. We've got new machines that are capable of the paper verifiable trail. So you're going to make sure that if somebody has a question about a machine, they can go look at the paper ballot. And at the end of the day, the paper ballot is what's going to win. So doing things like that, they're going to return confidence to the process. We now have a ballot tracking device. So if you have to vote absentee, you can follow your ballot to make sure that the vote that you cast was the vote that was counted. It's little pieces like that that's important to return to the process to make sure you understand our elections are full of integrity. And if you can't have elections that you trust, there's not much else that you can have. So we're really focused on that. I'm proud of our team and the work that we've done. Dr. Patrick, one of our Assistant Secretaries of State on election, has done a phenomenal job. And I think all of us know the importance of having a team. When you can have people like Carla Thornhill, who's my Chief of Staff, who's a phenomenal public servant. Folks like Liz Johnson, who runs our comms department. Folks that I really engage with each and every day and understand when you have intelligent folks, you try to surround yourself by people that are smarter than you that you can lean on. And I think that's an important piece of all of us in our state. How do we make Mississippi better? It's by taking the silos down and working together. Doesn't matter who gets the credit. How do we build a team? How do we move Mississippi forward? We do that by working together across party lines, whatever the lines may be, making teamwork the focus, making Mississippi better. So elections is one of those things. We talk about cutting the regulatory burden. My favorite story that I can tell you all about, cutting the regulatory burden, just happened a few weeks ago. And there are hundreds of folks, be it a teacher who's having an issue getting her license from MDE, be it someone who has an issue with DOR, a tax question. Doesn't matter what it is. Folks have started figuring out, you know what, if you call the Secretary of State's office, they're going to help you. We had a guy call the other day and he had an issue with DOR, and this is no disrespect to DOR, they do a great job, good people over there. But he said, you know, I got an issue here with a tax question. And I was told to call the Secretary of State's office. And my Chief of Staff actually took the call and she said, well, you know, we don't deal with that, but we've got some friends at DOR that we can connect you with, and we'll make that happen for you. He said, no. My senator told me to call Michael Watson, he would fix it. And I love that. I love that word is going around the state. If you want a problem or an issue solved, you know somebody's going to help you, the Secretary of State. And I think that's what we do as public servants, making sure that Mississippians understand, I'm here to serve you. You are the boss. And as long as we remember that and hold each other accountable, that's when you get good government. So I'm really proud of the things that we've done to cut the regulatory burden. And it's not just talking about it. This is one of those things that people can say, that's policy, that's theory, that's great. But when I can go help an individual open a Piggly Wiggly, and they now have another mercy selection in Louisville, Mississippi, that individual can now put food on the table for his family, that community grows, the whole state benefits from that by simply working on a regulatory burden to help him open his business. When I get up a teacher, get a license, start teaching, to put food on the table for our family. Doesn't matter what it is. When you help people experience the American dream, that's what we should be doing, and then get out of the way. Mississippians and businesses know what to do best. The government needs to get out of the way far more times. So cutting that regulatory burden is something we're really focused on. One of the things that I'm the most proud of, and this is something that, you know, it isn't securities, or it isn't charities, or it isn't something that's completely under our umbrella. But I sat down with the Girl State leaders about 2 or 3 years ago, and you're all familiar with the Boy State and Girl State programs. One of the Girl State individuals, this for some reason this year I was the only statewide that was in town on this specific day. So all 8 of the elected officials came to our office. And we sat down, we had probably about an hour and a half conversation. And somewhere in that conversation it kind of hit me, look, these are our leaders for the future of our state. How do we start to engage them and ingrain in them the importance of elections? So we had a conversation, look, how do y'all go back to your schools and do voter registration jobs? How do you go to your communities and do voter registration drives? How do you get your generation engaged in elections? And so we did that. And they went back in their schools and did voter registration drives. Well, through that, we started talking to our team and said, how do we make this even bigger? So we launched what we call our ambassador program. You've probably heard a little bit about it. The first year we had 56 high school seniors. This year, 67 high school seniors. And I want to tell you a little bit about that program. We do three things. Number one, we talk to them about elections. How do elections work in Mississippi? How can you engage in the election process here in our state? Every one of them go back to their schools and do voter registration drives. Really cool for them. And as they see, you know what, this isn't that hard. We can get our friends engaged in this. The people get the confidence that they can actually play a role in elections. Number two, we teach them about state government. As young leaders across the state, many of them, they want to advocate for something or against something, many times, something that's very interesting and something that's important to them. We teach them how to do that. What is the process here in Mississippi? How do you understand how government works? And then the third thing that really is the most important to me is the mentor program, the mentorship side of this. So we've had folks like Chevron, like Gittert, like Ergon, and others come in and teach these children, hey, here are the opportunities that you can have right here in Mississippi. We know this. Far too many times we hear this national narrative that says, hey, you know, those folks from Mississippi, they don't wear shoes, they can't read. And unfortunately, too many times we start to believe this about ourselves. And that's wrong. Mississippi is incredible. Y'all know this. Y'all see the people every day that are so bright. That Mississippi has an incredible future. And so we have these businesses come in. And let me tell you this, every single one of those student leaders, my last challenge to them is, listen to me. If you go out of state for school, that's fine. If you stay here for school, that's fine. But when you graduate and you say, you know what, here's the career that I want to go and challenge or pursue. But that's not in Mississippi. I tell every single one of them, I want you to call me first. And if I can't find an opportunity for you in Mississippi that suits your requirements, the things that you want to do that would interest you, then by all means, you do what you need to do. But the challenge there is, let's build these relationships. Let's pour into our future leaders to make sure they understand we can. We want you to stay in Mississippi. Well, why should I stay? Here are the opportunities. There are so many things that we don't even know about in our state. As an elected official, there are things that I don't know about. So imagine our citizens and our young citizens who have no idea what's going on at Ingalls, what's going on at Stennis, what's going on around this state, the great professions that you can have and make plenty of money right here at home. So as we continue to focus on our future leaders, that was 56 a year ago, 67 now. We just started our fellows program. As I've told y'all before, our 29 by 29, where we're reviewing every single regulation under all 29 boards and commissions for occupational licensing. Nurses, doctors, you name it. If you got our license from the state, you go through the ORC. So we've got about 7 now. Second year law school, a grad student in accounting, an MBA student. I could go through the list, but there are about 7 of them right now that are going to help us go through these regulations. And one of the beautiful things about that is, number one, again, you're building that relationship, letting them know that you care, that you want to hear what they have to say about the future of their state, these young leaders. But the second thing is we teach them the value of cutting that regulatory burden at such an early age in life. It kind of helps shape how they see things. And as these future leaders continue to get elected in politics later on in life, and they understand what's important to our business community, well, one of the most important things is cutting that regulatory burden. And if you can teach them at the college level, and they see that as a professional idea as they move up, it's only going to get better here in Mississippi to do business. One of the things I'll remind you, we saw this back in 2019. There are about 31,000 new businesses in Mississippi in 19. And we talk about the legislature and the work they've done to cut the tax burden. We talk about the Secretary of State's office and the work we've done to cut the regulatory burden. What's the result? What do you see out there? Again, for benchmark year 2019, you had about 31,000 new businesses. In 2020, about 53,000 new businesses. 2021, about 65,000 new businesses. 22, another 56,000 new businesses. This year, we've already got 46,000 new businesses, and we're on track to break 50,000 again. So it's not just talking about theory. When you can show, you know what, we're reducing this tax burden, we're reducing this regulatory burden, people want to be in Mississippi. It works, folks. So I encourage you, we've got an election coming up. Your voices need to be heard. We need you to go vote. I was coming up the other day on Highway 29, I was going to a meeting, and I noticed the beauty. If you've never driven up 29, you need to do so. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece of Mississippi. And I love the beauty of our state. I love our people. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is what we have to come in the future. What Mississippi can do moving forward when we build teams and we focus on what's best for the state as opposed to what's best for our political future. And we need you to help us be held accountable so we do the right thing as opposed to what's the political thing. I appreciate your input. We want to listen to you and hear from you when you see things that we can do to help. So God bless you guys. Look forward to seeing you soon.